The good news is the title of this is a lunch and learn. Lunch comes first. The learning is optional. So just feel free to learn if you wish. The impetus for all this was really Aspie. Where's Aspie? Sitting in the back. Aspie happened to read, he read one of my articles in Global Horizon, said, Bill, this really helped me understand how our firms work. And when he said that, made that comment to me via email, I said, you know, I bet there are a lot of people in the company that don't get the perspective on what our firms do. You know, those of us who are working with firms, with advisors on a one-to-one level, I think we get a sense of what they do. There's a large part of this company that works behind the scenes that doesn't understand what they're doing and how we help them. So I thought I would try and put into perspective how we help CPA firms or our affiliated firms, how they operate, what our role is here back in Dallas. So that's why the title is How First Global Rocks the CPA World, ... one firm at a time. So let me start with a couple of stories. I don't sleep at night, in case those of you know me, and I wake up and I think up all this crazy stuff in the middle of the night. I come in the morning and I tell the marketing people, and they create all this great stuff. So last night, I saw a commercial last night. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I thought of this commercial and how we could use it. I can't think of the exact commercial, but in the commercial, they had snippets of everyday people. And the everyday guy goes up and says, he's like at the door, ready to go to work, goes, today, I'm going to have a car accident because someone's going to run a stop sign. Today, you know, something's going to happen, and it's going to be bad. Is that like an auto insurance commercial? Yes, okay, that makes sense. So everyone's describing the accident they're going to have that day. So I thought of that, and I said, this is the situation of wealth management, the critical importance of wealth management. If you think of our clients, of the clients of our firms out there, and imagine a commercial like that, you'll have some guy at the door ready to go and say, ready to go to work, today the company stock in my 401k is going to tank. Or you see a guy dropping off his 7-year-old daughter at school, and he says, in 10 years, I'm going to get my first college tuition bill. Or the wife kissing the husband goodbye or off to work, and the wife says, my husband has plans to sell the business in 12 years. We're going to retire and live off the proceeds. Problem is, he's going to die in 3 years. So there are real-life situations out there that are in the future that wealth management seeks to address in the present. So that's the critical mission of wealth management in the world, and we play a vital role in helping firms deliver that. So take a look at the first global mission statement. Very carefully crafted. And there are two mission statements, you know. One is for staff, for employees. One's for our advisors. And the one on the outside, the one for the outside world says, to be the premier business development and resource partner to leading wealth management firms. Right? We foster business growth and client satisfaction by providing customized solutions, exceptional support, and award-winning service excellence. So the two key phrases in there for us of how we succeed as a company are foster business growth and client satisfaction. Help our firms grow and help them satisfy clients. Because that's the old phrase that Tony's always used, is the mission of our firms is to serve more clients and to serve them better. That's how they grow, by helping more people all the time with the situations we described. So it's a very important mission that we have. Now, who are our clients? Right? CPAs and also tax and accounting firms. Now, not being from the CPA world, I didn't know that you could be a CPA and not be an accountant, or that tax work is different than accounting work. But they're different. So we have CPA firms. We also have tax and accounting firms. May not be one and the same thing. We also have some law firms that are associated with the AAEPA, the American Academy of Estate Planning Attorneys. So we have like between 30, 35 firms, law firms out there working with people on estate planning that rely on us for help. And then many of our firms work with financial advisors, traditional financial advisors, either from brokerage firms or insurance companies, to help them deliver the wealth management services. So these are the types of people that we're working with. Next. On a daily basis, who do we deal with every day? Well, we talk to the CPAs or the tax professionals or the attorneys directly. We talk to the advisors who serve them and their clients. We also talk to their staff people. It could be wealth management assistants. Some of them have marketing officers who call us, just compliance people. So there are different levels of the firms out there, different people we interact with on a daily basis. Now, let's talk about a typical firm structure. Let's talk a big firm, and then we'll take it down. A CPA firm is built around partners. It's really the third rung there. Each partner in a firm is a dedicated accountant or tax professional who has his own little circle of clients. Right? So one little CPA's got his own little basket of clients, and over here is another little CPA with his own little basket of clients, and they come together and they form a firm. So while we think that they're one firm, they're actually two separate businesses because they're protecting their, I got my clients and you got your clients, and they basically share office space and maybe an assistant. So for the most part, they are not dynamic, unified companies. They're isolated professionals who have the same firm name and share the same space and administrative staff, but they still run their businesses in isolation. Very important to know that. So you can have a solo practice, right? One person running his own shop. You could have a two-partner firm, two people. You could have a multi-partner firm with 10 partners, yet not all 10 partners may be on board with delivering the same services to their clients. So there's different levels of commitment to what they want to do for their clients. It's not a firm-wide commitment. Each partner makes his own decision of how he wants to treat his clients, what services he wants to deliver. So let's just say, in short, that our opportunity is huge at First Global just with the firms we're working with now. Because with the firms we're working with now, if half of the partners are on board with wealth management, we're doing really well. It's typically less than half. So we have the opportunity to create confidence with the people working with us now so that more partners at existing firms do more business. And that's why, because a lot of the partners control their clients, they don't want to do business, wealth management business with them. Just stick to taxes. A lot of psychological reasons for that. I'll touch on some of them later. So you've got the partners. Then they have support staff who they hire to help them. Administrative people, wealth management assistants. They have tax staff who are not partners, but they do the tax work. They go out and get more clients for themselves, build their own little businesses. And they have people during tax season doing tax prep work. Right? So they're not partners, but they're professional staff. And then there's the true administrative staff, the assistants who are doing the grunt work. Very important people. By the way, wealth management assistants, at that level, that is the key level for us at First Global. If we have a firm with a happy wealth management assistant, or more than one, working with us, we will keep that firm forever. Because the partners could say, we're going to change broker-dealers, and if the assistant says, I'm not going through that headache, say, oh, sorry I mentioned anything. Don't want to make you mad. They have tremendous influence over who they do business with. So it's a very essential partnership for us is with the assistants at that level. And on the bottom here, you see managing partner. This sounds like a very powerful and important CEO figure. Here's one way that firms, I'm making this up, here's one way firms choose their managing partner. They have their annual partner meeting. All the partners stand in the line. They say, everyone who wants to be the managing partner, take a step forward. And they all do this. And there's one guy left over there, or a gal left there, and they say, you're the managing partner for the next 3 years. It's not a job they want because it involves staffing, hiring, compensation, all kinds of decisions about the rent and facilities, things that are not within their little tax world. So overall, the quality of the managing partners running our CPA firms is atrocious in terms of business skills. They are not good business people. It's an important factor in how we help them. They don't know how to run a good business. Taxes, they're experts. Business sense, little to none. Important factor. So the fact that someone's a managing partner does not make him or her smarter, more qualified, or more competent to do anything. It means they lost the contest to step backwards fast enough most of the time. Next. Now, how do we help firms deliver those wealth management services to their clients? Okay? A firm or a guy or a gal as a tax professional says, I want to help my clients anticipate these problems about death, about their 401k going bust, about paying college tuitions. I want to help them. How am I going to deliver these services to my client? So what are the choices? I can do it myself. After all, I do all this tax work. During tax season, I work 9,000 hours a week. I stay up all night. What's a few more hours? I can do it. I'll do it myself. Right? So you do it yourself. Why don't you hire an assistant? Why don't they hire assistants, some of them? Thank you. They cost money because CPAs are cheap. I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say it. They don't want to spend the money. And also, think about this. Remember I said they got this little circle of clients? If you have an assistant, what does the assistant do? Pokes into your clients. You know, well, they're my clients. You know, I'm threatened. I don't want to give up my clients. I don't want to pay someone to give up my clients. I'm threatened by this. Now, is this a decision based on strength or on weakness? It's a weak business move. But if you see a firm or an advisor we have who does not have an assistant, you're dealing with someone who's weak, who does not have the courage to invest in their own business, to think about the business from a business sense. So one of Tony's imperatives with every firm is you must have a full-time wealth management assistant. Must, must, must. And the successful firms we have go out and hire the assistant before they can afford it. Now that's really a leap of faith. You ask Neil Schmerling the best thing he ever did. He says, I came to First Global in Dallas. I heard Tony say, I'd better hire an assistant. I paid my assistant like $40,000, and I did about $1,200 in financial services revenue that year. That was a losing proposition to the CPA mindset, but it was a tremendous investment in his future. That's a business decision, someone who's going to succeed. So, one way is to do it yourself. Second way is get an advisor, someone who's done wealth management, who's been in the financial services business, to partner with you to talk to your clients about this stuff. Because you're not an expert and you don't have time. So you get a financial advisor. So you can either hire the advisor in-house. We're going to hire our own advisor, and he or she will be an employee of this firm. So that would be BPS, like David Schill, Katie Connors. They are advisors, financial advisors who've been hired by a CPA firm to be dedicated to delivering wealth management to their clients. Right? Internal employees of the firm. Second model, the first model up there is BAS. This is a way where we want advisors to work with our clients, but we don't want to hire anybody. We just want them to come in here when a client asks us for stuff, and we don't want to do it ourselves. So if there's a firm in New Jersey, a client calls up and says, I just got laid off. What should I do with my 401k? Who's going to talk to me? The CPA goes, I'll call you back in half an hour. And they get off the phone. They call up Hal Sarge. Say, Hal, we got an opportunity here. When can we meet with him? Hal says, schedule the meeting for next Tuesday. The CPA calls the client, says, you're going to meet with our Director of Financial Services, our financial advisor, Hal Sargent, next Tuesday. So Hal, who's an independent financial advisor, works on an opportunistic basis with 10 or 11 firms in New Jersey. When they have a situation, they call him or Skip Angelo or John Crow, and they come to the firm and they meet with the client. Okay? So they're independent financial advisors who've agreed to work with a number of firms. It's a very good model for everybody involved. And then the last one is BMS. BMS is typically for larger firms, multi-partner firms, that they want a full-time advisor, but they need lots of help. They don't want to make the decisions about who to hire, how to manage them, how to structure their day, how to make them integrate into the firm. So we do it for them. BMS is a First Global turnkey financial advisor service. We'll find the advisor for you. We'll place him in your firm. They'll be an independent contractor, not an employee. And we'll train them how to work with your firm. And we'll train your firm how to work with the advisor. And we'll manage that on a weekly basis with a dedicated BMS staff. That's the full Monty. Turnkey financial services delivered by First Global. Okay? And we get paid for that up to a certain point. So we get a cut of all the business. So that's a good model for us. So that's the ways of delivering wealth management to clients. Okay? Let's go next. Now, let's go back to wealth management. We use this phrase a lot. In fact, the whole industry is using this phrase. And wealth management, there's a long definition up here I'm not going to read, but wealth management has two components, two dimensions. The first dimension is what it means to ordinary people, to clients. Wealth management means something to everyone in this room, right? It's a way of looking at your finances, your financial planning, in a comprehensive manner. In other words, you should not make a decision about anything in your finances, retirement, investments, insurance, without understanding how it fits into everything else you've got. Makes sense, right? Not everyone works that way. I had a client who was about 70 years old, had been a business owner, and he called me up and said, Bill, I want to come see you to sort of get a handle on all of my financial planning because I'm sick and I'm going to die and my wife doesn't have a clue what's going to happen. So this guy comes to my office with the literal shoebox full of statements and stuff, and he's got 5 brokerage accounts, 6 mutual funds, 10 annuities, 12 insurance policies. He's got everything. I said, how did you get all this stuff? And this guy, I remember, Vince Panzarino, he ran a catering business in New York. He was very successful. He said, Bill, I spent 6.5 days a week in the catering business working, morning, noon, and night. I made a lot of money. I gathered cash. Every time somebody called me to sell me something, and I had cash available, I bought it. I figured I had to do something. I didn't have time. Sure, give me 10,000 of that. Give me 20,000 of that. And sure, whatever it was, he bought it. So he had all this stuff. It wasn't integrated. So a lot of people act that way. They just kind of buy stuff without it fitting together. So wealth management means looking at everything together. Now, is it best to have lots of people doing that or one person? I mean, you need a single perspective on it, right? You might need a lot of help behind the scenes, but you need one coach. So the perspective from a firm is we want to be able to give people advice on their financial matters, understanding everything about them. Now, it's a yes or no question. Is it easy for one person to be expert in all of these things? In insurance, in retirement, in investments? I mean, no. It's hard. So the model is, how do I structure my firm, my wealth management firm, so that I can deliver services to clients that are professional and competent? You can either go and study study for years and become an expert yourself, or you can borrow the expertise from somebody else. So borrowing is a good idea. That whole concept of borrowing brain power and systems and resources from elsewhere, we call leverage. You have to leverage your wealth management practice. That means don't be a dummy and do it all yourself. You can't. Hire an assistant, call First Global, and that's it. So wealth management, we categorize it, we break it into 3 component parts. This is in everybody's life, right? The first phase you see over here is wealth accumulation. I need to be saving and investing so I accumulate wealth because in the future I'm going to need it for fill in the blank, whatever it is. I need it for retirement, I need it to buy a house, I need it to pay for college. I have a lot of future needs. I got to start accumulating money. Now, one of the phenomenon of our industry is the financial services industry for the last 35 years has been built on wealth accumulation. That's the only message that we've heard in the media. The only message that anybody's heard is, we're going to help you save money. We're going to make you more money than anybody else at a lower cost. It's all accumulate more at a lower cost, accumulate more at a lower cost. This is what built the strength of companies like Fidelity and Schwab, et cetera. The message of, you need to accumulate, we're going to help you accumulate, do it better than anyone else and cheaper, or cheaper. That has been the message for 35 years. Now, here's the problem. The biggest demographic group in this country is, how old are the baby boomers? 49, 48, thank you. Right? Born between 46 and 65. Baby boomers, 1946, 1965. Baby boomers are my generation and up 10 years, 12 years. They have now, for the most part, their accumulation is pretty much done, or it better be very well done. Especially the more affluent people, high net worth people, their accumulation should be well toward done. Especially if you're 55, 60, you want to retire, you better have some buckets of money to retire on. So if you're done with accumulation, why do you want to work with someone who's telling you, we can accumulate more, we can help you earn more, save more, lower costs? That's not what they need. What do the baby boomers need to think about now? Protecting that bucket of money they've saved, and what else? Distribution, what does that mean? Start taking money out of the buckets. Look, I've saved all this bucket of money over here in my 401k. I got another little bucket in my IRA. I got Social Security money going to start at age 62 or 65 or 60, for me, 66 in 9 months. When do I start coordinating? How do I know where to get my income from? When I stop working, I'm not going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Who's going to pay me? How much can I pay myself? And those are important questions. So we call that, right, wealth, protection, and distribution. I've accumulated this bucket. I don't want to have to worry at night that the market's been down, 300 points a couple times in the last week. Do I have to worry about that now that I'm retired or I'm about to retire? I don't want to worry about that. Right? Because 3 weeks ago, everybody was greedy and they're buying their islands in the Mediterranean. Now they're scared they can't retire. Things change quickly. Fear and greed. Now we're in a fear environment. You need an advisor to keep you from being scared about this stuff. Protect my assets. Help me start taking income from it. The next phase, and this can overlap, is how do I now begin to plan to transfer my wealth to the people and institutions I care about? To my spouse, to my kids, to my grandkids, to my church, to my college, to my school, to my favorite charity. How do I take my wealth and begin to plan to give it to others? Because if I don't plan on it, who's going to take the money? Taxes, right? That requires planning. So it's a major concern for baby boomers is this retirement planning and the estate planning factors. So the biggest demographic group in this country, the baby boomers, are requiring a different set of services from our industry than they've been peddled for the last 35 years. And it requires a different set of skills. Flip to the next slide for a second. Who's the biggest player in the world? In the world, the United States, in terms of assets under management by advisors? Merrill Lynch. Right? Merrill Lynch sells themselves as being, I don't know if you can you read that? Total Merrill. Okay, that's their message. Total Merrill. We can do it all for you. We can do education planning, retirement planning, business planning, estate planning. We can do it all right here. We're not just about wealth accumulation anymore like we've been for 35 years. We can do it all. And everyone is spinning the same story. We're not just about accumulation. We can help you with retirement planning. We can help you with estate. We can help you with everything. But with all their little colored boxes there, there's one element missing. Go back to the other slide for a second. Think about this. When you start taking money out of your IRA, when you start getting Social Security income, you think you're going to keep all that money that comes to you? What happens on the way? Taxes. Taxes don't go away. So you think, well, I've got $1 million in my 401k. I'll just start taking out 10% a year and I'll spend $100,000. No. Because you still pay taxes even though you're not working. Can Merrill Lynch provide tax advice to their clients as well as a CPA? Can Merrill Lynch provide tax advice at all? Do you know that they're not allowed to? On every prospectus or every piece of paper that Merrill Lynch hands out, you know what it says? It says, this is not tax advice. We do not give tax advice. Please consult your tax advisor before doing anything stupid. That's what it says. Who's the tax advisor? The CPAs. So when they go to the CPA and say, hey, listen, my Merrill Lynch guy is telling me to do this thing and that thing. What do you think? What should our CPAs be saying? Why are you listening to the Merrill Lynch guy? What does he know? I can do it for you here. Do our CPAs do that? Why not? They're scared. It's absolute fear. Absolute fear. Okay? We'll talk about that in a second. But it's fear. But it makes sense, right? They're coming to tax advice. Quick story. Steve Chase is an advisor up in New England. Steve's having a meeting with a client, a baby boomer client, about a SEP retirement plan, a little tiny retirement thing. Right? He's having a retirement plan meeting. So let me see your SEP, how it's going. It's 11:45. It took 12 minutes, the review meeting. Yeah, your investments are doing fine. You could put away X amount this year. Everything's great. Get the check into me by Tuesday. And Steve's ready to packing up, ready to go to lunch. He's hungry. And Steve, as he's going, oh, anything else I need to know? As he's ready to go to lunch, and the guy says, why, yes. My parents, age 70 plus, 80 plus, one of them, are having their estate plan reworked by their Smith Barney broker. Would you mind taking a look at it for me? The client asks Steve, the CPA, to review his firm, the CPA firm, to review the estate plan. Steve says, sure, we'll take a look at it. Turns out the Smith Barney broker was in it for himself, let's say. Instead of clients had a $5 million life insurance need, he was selling them $10 million. They had an existing insurance policy, which was fine. He was going to have them liquidated to give a little more insurance, buy a little more insurance on the side. So Steve did his job. You know, his firm did the job. They did the baby boomer client a favor, helped with the parents' review, got the parents as clients. Now, is this rocket science? Right? It's very simple the way that business works within a firm because the clients are already there. They don't have to go out to a phone book and start dialing people and saying, would you like help with wealth management? You know? I'll clean your carpeting also, you know, 3-room special this week. I mean, that's not the way it's done anymore. They already have the clients. Okay, so in this, wealth management means these analyzing people, clients, for which phase of wealth management they're in or which phases they're in, and applying tax expertise to the planning elements. No one else can add the tax planning dimension to the wealth management services. Nobody except the CPAs. So we have a competitive advantage that no one can match. So just what this means to us is when our advisors and CPAs start whining to us about anything, about why they're not successful, you just say to them, listen, we think that you're just like shooting fish in a barrel. You got clients, and you got the only gun. Because Merrill Lynch doesn't have the tax gun. So start firing. Now, we make it easy, right? Wealth management, I mean, it's nebulous, it's fuzzy, I mean, everyone's calling it. We break it down. Now, how are firms going to provide these services to clients? We're going to talk tomorrow about your wealth accumulation phase. I mean, that doesn't ring true. What is that? Nobody talks like that. So we break it down into the method 10, the 10 areas of wealth management that clients or real people are likely to run into, at least many of them, over the course of their lives. And even these get a little fuzzy in meaning. I mean, you know what investment planning is. You know estate planning. But how about this one? I'd like to talk to you next Tuesday about your income protection and asset preservation solutions. What? What? Right? But underneath, we made it easy. Like, this is my Greek diner menu, right? But underneath it says long-term care disability. People know what that means. Long-term care, yeah, my Uncle Harry's got Alzheimer's. Oh, it's costing him a fortune. All of a sudden, it becomes real. Income protection and asset preservation. What are you talking about? And don't forget, these are CPAs. They tend to talk technical. So we got to say, you know, get simple. Long-term care disability. Uncle Henry. Remember Uncle Henry? Yes. Well, what about you? Right? You got to make it real. It's about real people. So that's part of our challenge is helping CPAs think like real people. No offense, Aspie. So we've got the method 10 to give structure and cohesion and order to the process for engaging clients with wealth management. Next. Now, let's take a step back. we kind of have all the ingredients in place now. The clients are out there. The firms are out there. We've got a built-in advantage with our tax planning. Why do firms succeed? Why do firms fail? Randy, how many firms has First Global had since 1992 affiliated with us? Take a guess.
92, probably 500, 600.
That's not even close. David, how many firms have we had since 1992, you think?
1,300.
Over 2,000. We have had over 2,000 firms affiliate with us since 1992. How many we have today? Is Elizabeth here? How many we have today?
Probably a little over 600.
Yeah, 600. We've had 2,000. So 1,400 firms have left us. How many of the 600 firms we have now are successful? How many Eagles we have? 150? So maybe 25, we had maybe 150 successful firms out of the 2,000 we've worked with since 1992. What's the problem? Let's start with this. Why do those 150 firms succeed? Here's the answer. I've categorized this. You probably can't read this either, right? Oh, you can? Okay. I've categorized these imperatives for success. What does it take for a firm to succeed? I didn't make these up. I actually, after a couple of years of talking to firms, I sort of have this figured out. And remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Anybody remember that from high school? Maslow was from Brooklyn, by the way. Good guy. But Maslow said that, hey, human beings, their order of how they wake up in the morning and do stuff, first thing they need is like primal needs. I need food, I need to be warm, I need not to be killed today. Then once you have those things satisfied, then you move to the next level. I think I'd like 3 meals today, and I think I'd like a red coat, and I think I'll kill somebody else today. And then you move up to the top where you're sitting around like Buddha on top of the mountain contemplating the universe. But first you have to not be cold and hungry. Right? That's why you don't have a lot of scientists in starving places in the world. They're worried about eating, not thinking up stuff. They probably have the genetic code to do it, but they're hungry. So similarly, we have this hierarchy of imperatives for success in wealth management. And it starts at the bottom. I have not seen a single firm succeed that has not accomplished this first level, which is having the right set of beliefs. Because you can ask, why are you going to start a wealth management practice? Why do you want to offer financial services? And if you hear stuff like, well, we want another revenue stream to diversify our income flow. Okay? Or you hear, we want to build a steady flow of income from advisory business to fund us as we retire the senior partners. Okay. Or you hear something like, well, the firm down the street did it, we have to do it too. These may all be true, but they are not going to drive anyone to success. There is only one element, one belief that drives success with our firms, and that is the belief that you are in the business, you are trained as a professional to make a difference in people's lives, to save them from themselves and from the other idiots on the street like at Merrill Lynch. It's firms that believe that succeed. I'll tell you a Leslie Kilgore story. Leslie Kilgore came to First Global and had some meeting about long-term care. So, she took notes, got the 3 bullet points, went back. A couple of weeks later, a client came in for a meeting and said, oh, by the way, I've taken care of your investments. How have you been for long-term care? Oh, yeah, everything's okay. Don't worry about it. A month later, 2 months later, that client who was in the office, one of her parents developed a serious problem, needed long-term care, basically wiped her out, had to pay for it herself, had to empty the mother's investments in order to qualify for all this other stuff, basically lost the long-term care battle, cost a fortune. Leslie found out and said, you know what? I had that client in my office. We were on the subject of long-term care, and I let her walk away without knowing whether she was really set or not. Because I wasn't confident enough. I'd just been to a meeting for 2 hours. What did I know about long-term care? I just kind of threw it out there when the client said, I don't really want it. I said, okay. Leslie felt terrible. I could have helped that client. I should have helped that client. And I'm never going to let that happen to me again. And she made a point of contacting every single client over the next 6 months and talking about long-term care. How are you set for long-term care? I want specifics. If you don't know, we're scheduling a meeting. And she did that to help her clients, but also her own professional moral imperative told her, I cannot sleep at night if another one of these clients is not prepared for this situation to come up. I'm their advisor. That is my mission in life, to help these people. Right? That is what it's all about. We got lots of advisors like that. They're really, some of them, I mean, Leslie's not a CPA. Some of them you can't tell because they're CPAs, sorry, Aspie, and they're kind of, they're not warm and fuzzy on the outside. But Adam and I interview them on camera, and after about 5 minutes, I mean, they'll tell you a story. You can feel their passion, how much they care about their clients and what they do. So it's there. But they don't know how to draw it out. And in multi-partner firms, it's the worst because they don't know how to talk to one another about this stuff. We don't talk about this stuff. We talk about tax laws and forms and stuff, not human beings and lives. So they have to solve this challenge of having the right belief system in their firm and communicating to all the partners and staff and everybody. We're here to help clients. That's important. Now, next step up. Once you got that belief system in place, what do you need to do? 2 things. I now need my firm to be competent in doing 2 things. Diagnosing the issues, the Method 10 issues that my clients may face, and having the technical competencies to prescribe what they need to make them better or protect them against future problems. Diagnose and prescribe. These are technical competencies. Our advisors, our CPAs, never have a problem with technical competency. They're technical people. They are excellent at this. The problem is they get too technical and too involved in the details and forget that the bottom line is not that they want paragraph 4, clause 3B to be the best possible feature for their client instead of, my client will be better off tomorrow with this than they were yesterday. So they get too technical. So we've got to bring them out of that level. But technical competency is never a problem. The other set of education skills they need are more soft skills. Right? How do I communicate with clients? How do I have a meeting where I talk to them? What kinds of questions do I ask them to get the information I need? Right? They don't know that stuff. Those are soft skills they don't have. So through the Wealth Management Academy, we do all that stuff. Right? We do videos, we do training, we do all kinds of stuff to give them the technical knowledge and the soft skills that they lack. I mean, let's face it. CPA has a very specific skill set. Think about how he's trained. Right? I'm trained to have 100% knowledge of the tax laws. 100%. I could have a debate about the new tax law changes all day if I wanted to. That's how much I know them. Then I know every single line of every single tax form ever invented, contemplated, repealed, you name it, I know it. Schedule C, line 22, clause B, it says, boom. They know it all. So what's their job? They get client information, they interpret it through the tax laws, and they put it down on a bunch of forms. Client information, tax laws, forms. And when do clients come to see them? There's a deadline. April 15th, September 15th, whatever the deadline is, the clients have to come see them. They don't have to move a muscle because the clients are coming to them. That's their world. My clients, my tax season, my forms, my interpretation of the laws, my fees. That's their entire world. So then we talk about wealth management, and they have 100% knowledge of the tax laws. Can they have 100% knowledge of wealth management solutions? When they make a recommendation, can they be 100% certain that it's going to work? Or that's going to be the best one out there? No. How about the forms? Insurance. Every state has a different insurance procedure for licensing, for policies, for everything else. Can they possibly have knowledge of every form? Impossible. Do they have to? No. They don't have to. But they don't. And what's the deadline for a client to come talk to me about estate planning? That's a good deadline. When do people actually start talking about estate planning in the real world? In your life, when do people start talking about it? Retirement? Yeah, maybe. Somebody else dies. Uncle Henry died, and he left Aunt Jill in a pickle. How are we fixed, honey? So begins the estate planning discussion. Right? One relative removed from you, hopefully, if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky. We all know situations where it wasn't one removed and somebody messed up. Hopefully it wasn't you. This happens. So we're telling CPAs to move into a world that's totally different from their own. It's a different way of dealing with people. They don't have 100% knowledge. They don't know the forms. There's no deadline for action. So if nothing happens, nothing happens. So you can get licensed and come to Matrix and all this and go back to your office, and if nothing happens, nothing happens. Not like tax work. There's a deadline. They come to you. It's easy. Even dentists have to remind you to come back. No, don't wait till your tooth are hurt. Come back in 6 months or 3 months, right? They remind you. It's common sense, but not everybody does it. Here's a card. We'll send you mail. Put this on your calendar. Stick this on your refrigerator. That's what we're trying to teach CPAs to do. Meet with your clients all the time. Keep them coming back, because there's always something new to talk about. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so education part. Client relationships. This is what is the biggest challenge our firms face. And here I'll put it in their terms. Here's the question I get. Bill, I've had these clients for 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 17 years. How can I, and I've done their tax work, accounting work for their business, their tax prep work, all these years. How can I go back to them now and tell them, I want to talk about something else? I'm not just going to talk about taxes. I want to talk about your investments, your insurance, your estate planning, your retirement planning, your education planning. How can I possibly do that? How do they do it? They think it's like a totally different world. And the answer is, just do it. But I don't have 100% knowledge of the tax laws. I don't know what forms to use. I don't know when to call them or what to talk about. So what's the answer to every one of those questions, with those objections they bring up? Pick up the phone and call First Global. If I had to lay out the simplest business model for any firm, here's what it would be. And you can use this, because this will work. Bill, what should we do in our firm? I want you to hire an assistant or an intern. I don't care if it's a college student, a high school student. I want somebody in your office 20 hours a week, 10 hours a week, whatever it is, and that person's going to do one thing. Going to go through your client book and call every single client and schedule an appointment. 2 a day, 3 a day for the next 3 years. Just have one person schedule appointments. And when they come, what am I going to talk to them about? We'll give you a set of questions. And you ask some questions and you have a conversation. Now what do? Then you schedule a follow-up meeting. Say, great, I'm glad we had this talk today. I've got a lot of information here. Let's schedule another meeting. Okay. Then the client leaves, you shut the door, and you pick up the phone and call First Global and say, help! What do I do? That will work. That will work. You keep the clients coming in and you yell for help. Because you know what? We do this every day. There should be no fear involved, because why would you battle through that fear and lack of confidence? Because what? Because I firmly believe that I'm on this earth to help my clients with my professional expertise. And therefore, I'm going to power through this and do it. See, if you don't have the beliefs, you get conquered by the fear. You get stopped in your tracks. Look, it's all about me. I'm making enough money. I don't want to work any more hours. You know, I don't want to have to supervise an assistant. You know, I'm not worried about my retirement. I don't care if my CPA firm disappears after I retire. Right? There's lots of things, lots of excuses that you don't care. But if you care about your clients, you will act and make changes. Let's go to Robert in Louisiana. Robert.
Booyah, Ski Daddy.
Booyah. That's a Trey Bone Bayou booyah, Robert. What do you got?
I'm a believer in wealth management, or how to go back to my tax clients I've had for 5 or 10 years and tell them I want to do more than just mere taxes. How will they react?
Great question. First, there's good news. Your clients will instantly react. You know how? They'll say, great. They'll say, thank you. They'll say, why haven't you done this for me for 5 years? Then there's bad news. You're probably afraid to approach them. You know what? You have to face your fear. Here's how you do it. This may be tricky. You tell the truth. You tell your clients, you know, Bo, we've been doing more than taxes for a long time. We give advice on a range of issues clients bring to us. Investments, 401ks, business retirement plans, estate planning. That's all it was, advice. Now our clients are asking us to do more. They want us to make sure our advice gets implemented correctly. They want us to review their wealth management solutions. They want us to adjust their plans to their ever-changing life circumstances. So, now we're more than tax professionals. You could say we're supermen and superwomen. We use our tax expertise to make sure your whole wealth management program is properly positioned to achieve your goals. Let's go to Don in Wisconsin. Don.
Booyah, Bill. This is Don in Madison.
That's a great stuttering badger. Booyah. What do you got?
Hey, love your book, man.
Holy cow, the book. Matrix 3rd edition. 612 pages, 6.2 pounds. Great plug.
Listen, Bill, you know, the Matrix says insurance is a big part of wealth management. But my partners don't believe in insurance. You know, how can I get them on board?
Let me get this straight. Your partners say they don't believe in insurance? Right? They say no insurance. They be wrong. Woo! Here's what you tell them. Look, buddy, you don't have to believe in insurance. That's your choice. But it's unprofessional, unethical, and flat out unhelpful. Is that a word? Unhelpful? After all, they probably own insurance already. And who can help them understand their insurance? Whether it meets their needs, whether they need more insurance, less insurance. Some guy working for a Wall Street firm or a bank or a local trust company? No, you! So let's start acting like professionals and do what we're committed to do every day. Give our clients advice and help. Booyah, Ski Daddies. You know, I burn through an enormous amount of energy with every show I do. I need a jump start every single morning. That's why I start my day off with Method 10. It's got the 10 key elements I need to make my day work. It's got no fat, no sugar coating, just 100% wealth management nutrition. You should start the day with Method 10 too. It's good for you, good for your firm, good for your client. Don't settle for substitutes that are only part of your wealth management day. Method 10 is 100% of your wealth management day. This is all you need. This other stuff, forget about it. You don't need it. Stick with Method 10. It's good for you, good for your firm, good for your client. Booyah. Let's go to Rhonda in California. Rhonda.
Hey, Bill. Booyah. I just love the show, and I love you too.
Booyah, Rhonda. You just made my day. What are you doing this weekend? No, let's not go there. Help me, Rhonda. Is that a great song or what? What do you got for me, Rhonda?
Well, I'm just starting out with First Global, and I started reading The Matrix 3rd edition.
What? Holy cow, The Matrix, 3rd edition. The book. What a plug, The Matrix.
What advice can you give me for getting off to a fast start?
You're already off to a good start. You know why? I'm a big believer in investing in best-of-breed companies. And you've joined the leading circle of professional wealth management. A veritable murderer's row of CPA, tax and accounting, and law firms throughout these great United States of America. All connected through the miracle network of First Global. What a great start. Let me tell you, it doesn't get any better than that.
The Matrix talks a lot about leveraging my practice. Why is leverage so important?
Leverage? What a great word. Leverage is like hitting a home run. You need to spend 90% of your time on one thing: meeting with your clients. This is a contact sport, after all. It's not about pushing forms and paperwork across your desk. It's meeting clients face to face, belly to belly. Nothing will be a more powerful catalyst for your success in wealth management than helping clients. That's no secret. You'll grow in confidence with every Method 10 solution you implement for clients. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm on a roll, and you're going to give me the buzzer? We're going to take this offline after the show. Hey, this is not rocket science. It's common sense. Your clients need your help. Professional, trusted advice, customized solutions, systematic reviews. Put the systems you need in place today. Find new ways to leverage your firm. You stick with wealth management, and you stick with First Global. Really, we could just get rid of all of our training programs, just show the video. It's that simple. If you just met with clients, picked up the phone, and called First Global, everything would be okay. Case in point, we interview advisors for our videos frequently. Kevin Sweeney, whose firm has tripled in size in 2 years, when we interviewed Kevin, well, Kevin, to what do you attribute your success? He said, I just do what First Global tells me. He says, when they came out with the marketing field guide, I use the marketing field guide. When they came out with IMS, I just use IMS. When they tell me to go through insurance, I go through insurance services. They tell me to go through, I just do what First Global tells me. It's when they start thinking on their own, I can do it better, or First Global's not right, or it's too expensive, or too this, or too that. Forget about them. They don't get it. It's all about them and their brain and not their client's well-being. They're on the wrong track. So talk about that leverage concept with systems, right? We organize the way we train our firms and our advisors around 4 systems in the matrix: operations, administration, marketing, and sales. You can think about all of the people in this building who support those functions. We basically do it for them, or we show them what they need to do on their end to make these things work. We can't do it for them, but we certainly do an awful lot. There's an element at their end to connect with our systems. We've got them in place. We've got great people. We've got great systems. Just read the book. Do what we tell you. And often this comes down to a problem with leadership. Right? The next slide is leadership. Remember, managing partner was selected very carefully by the person who really might want to spend time talking about the rent, or the garbage service, or something, or when the copiers are broken. So the managing partner is typically not thinking about, how do I drive my firm to greatness? We have managing partners that do. Larry Sykes, Steve Corley, there's a bunch of them that are really good. But we know them all. There are no more than 20 of them. There are no more than 20 great managing partners in the First Global empire. 20. The rest muddle through. They don't set goals. They don't hold people accountable for results. They don't inspire. They don't even communicate. I went to visit firms in January. Many of the partners had never heard of the marketing field guide. What's that? We've only had it for 2.5 years. You've probably gotten it in the mail every month for the last 2 years. But no, they didn't know what it was. So to think that everybody knows what we do, they don't. They don't communicate internally. So we may have contact with 1 or 2 people at a firm assuming that they're spreading the message to the whole firm. It's not happening. It's not happening. Example of the failure of leadership. Circle of Champions is coming up in 2 weeks. This will be our 4th one. We bring in the managing partners and the champion partners from our largest multi-partner firms all around the country. They asked for this. They come in and they talk about what's going on in their firm, how can they lead their firm to greatness, this very issue we're wrestling with here. The first meeting, we said, you guys want this? Great. We picked 2 of the managing partners and said, you guys run it. Run a meeting. Isn't that what leaders do? At least you can run a meeting, right? They couldn't even run the friggin' meeting. And they admitted it. At the end, they said, you know, Bill, we need First Global to play a more active role next year. That was the aha moment for me and for Tony. I said, Tony, you know what? These are the managing partners of 2 of the biggest firms in the country, not just at First Global, and they can't run a meeting. How can they possibly lead their firm to greatness and make changes when they can't run a meeting? So since that time, we've changed some of our emphasis to not just focus on helping clients. How do you help your clients? That's a lot of what that's 90% of what we do here. How do you help your clients? We dedicate a lot of time now in education and at the executive level in how do you run your practice? How do you organize your staffing? How do you leverage your firm? How do you use outside people like the people at First Global to help deliver solutions to your clients? How much do you pay your staff? We even help hire assistants now. Our HR department will help hire assistants because they can't do it. They can't interview people. They can't even know how to place an ad. They have no business sense. So there's a serious leadership gap in the firms that we have, and we need to fill that as well. So it's an increasing role. We do it through Circle of Champions. We do it in a lot of ways through being thought leaders. This category that Tony uses of thought leadership. We write and speak a lot about what's going on in our industry at the wealth management level and at the practice level. What defines a successful practice? How many clients should you have? How much revenue should they be generating? How do you identify perfect clients? How do you service them? What's the best model? BAS, BPS, BMS? What's cost effective? Why should you do IMS business and forget about everything else on the asset management side? Right? These are the propositions we're helping firms. We're giving them the answer because they can't figure it out for themselves. And the way we do that is, one, through telling these stories, this theoretical stuff, but the more powerful way is to give examples. We tell stories over and over again about how firms are successful. We talk about Kevin Sweeney. We talk about Larry Sykes. We talk about Katie Connors. We talk about the success stories so that they see, look, you got to get it. You know, one of the things about National Conference that's magical, is a firm told me, Robin Matthews from Jones & Roth, they brought a partner who really wasn't participating in financial services to National Conference a couple years ago. And I talked to her after. She goes, the best thing we ever did was bringing this guy to conference. Because he came back from conference and he said to me, Robin, after 3 days in Las Vegas, now I get it. So that was good because Robin said, now he gets it. The bad news was, I've been telling him for 5 years. It took 3 days at conference for him to get it. So I thought about that and I said, what happened at conference to get this guy on board? Some powerful presentation that Tony made, some stupid video I made? No, I don't think so. When you think about it, you know what it was? When you sit at those sessions and you sit at lunch and you ride on the bus to dinner and you look around you at all these CPAs and you go, that guy's an idiot. He's doing $1 million in wealth management. I'm doing 12 cents. If he can do it, I can do it. I think that's the message, that we can do all the preaching we want from here in Dallas, but when they see it from one another, they're empowered. That's why the WIN program works. That's why the education programs work, because we bring people together, their peers, and they look at one another and say, guy's an idiot. And he's doing $500,000 because he talks to his clients. Brilliant. You don't have to be smart. You just have to care. I mean, that's the component. If you care, you'll be successful. Otherwise, you won't. So there's a leadership gap in what we do. So we're trying to fill that. White papers, publications. What's the next slide? I mean, we write articles and we're published, so we try and build our credentials that First Global is a leader in the field, which we are. So we get published a lot. We speak at conferences, at CPA conferences. So we're known as knowing what we're doing. And think about it. Who's our clientele? Who are our clients? CPAs. What's the alternative for them? They can work with HD Vest, another firm here, which is not as good as us, or they can work with a traditional brokerage firm that may be owned by an insurance company where they are outsiders. They feel like outsiders and they're treated like outsiders. It's like they have this whole program, and if you're as a financial advisor, here's what you do. As a financial advisor, here's what you do. And if you're a CPA, it kind of works the same way. Oh, thanks for that important detail for CPAs. Whereas here, we're all talking about, you're a CPA. You've got the advantage. You've got tax knowledge. You know the client. Here's what you should do during tax season, after tax season. Here's what you see on the tax form. Everything we do talks to their profession and their experience. Now, we have a problem with the attorneys because they're slightly outside that scope. There's only 30 of them, so it's not so bad. But our core competency is talking at the CPA firm level. We know their experience. We share the experience of 2,000 firms that have worked with us, and we know what works and doesn't work. That's our value as a company. And we know the importance of what we do. Here are all the touch points of what First Global does. And this was a piece it's going out of fashion, apparently. But this is what business development has used as our unique service propositions. Here's what separates First Global from the competition when you're looking at our firm. Independence and objectivity. We are not owned by some bank or insurance company that has a quota for delivering insurance goods or mortgages. Right? Support. We'll help you every step of the way. Pick up the phone, we're here. Platforms. We'll build that advisor model any way you need it. BAS, BPS, BMS, do it yourself. We know how it works. Training and education, second to none. We spend a lot of money in education. Why? Because CPAs need it. They really need it. They don't know what to do. Client solutions, we got IMS, we got Compass Gold. We have access to all the solutions out there. There isn't a problem out there that clients have that we don't have access to a solution. There's nothing we can't do in size or scope. We can do it. Technology. Technology is everywhere, but our technology works. Service excellence, we win the Dalbar Award. So everything we do when business development is out there speaks to, we work with CPAs, we know your business, we've been doing it for a long time, we've worked with 2,000 of you firms, and we know it works. Why wouldn't you want to hang out with your colleagues and learn how to do it together? Right? So, Tony, if you go to the last slide, I mean, what are the lessons here? I mean, CPAs should rule the world. There is no reason why they should not own this space. They are uniquely qualified to help clients better than anybody else. And we don't even rule our little space. Rule the world. Wealth management benefits people in a real, tangible way. It makes a difference in people's lives. When you hear the stories of how people are saved by their wealth management advisors, it's important work we do. It really is. Leverage makes wealth management cost and time effective. There are no excuses for not doing this for our firms. Listen, you just commit, we'll show you how to do it. The cost of time and money is not going to be, it will be rewarded many times over. 4, First Global offers hands-on support and the power of our collective experience. We have an incredible support ratio of people here, and we have the collective knowledge, having worked with all of these firms, and nothing is different from New England to the Southwest, from a 5-partner firm to a solo practice. There are very, very, very slight differences. Clients have the same issues everywhere. Everywhere. So there's no, our firm is different. They all say that. Tony says, yeah, that's why we formed First Global. We're like a 12-step program for recovering CPAs. And he's right, because every firm is dysfunctional because they're all walking around going, I got my clients over here. Don't look at my clients. You're not going to send mail to my clients, are you? No. They don't play nice with one another. 5, First Global does it all. Just call us, we do it all. 6, run your run. Now, Tony saw this T-shirt. I like this. It's a a guy jogging, and just says, run your run. So think about that. I mean, I have this problem myself. I should go home and I should run. But on the way home, I start thinking about it, going, well, I ran 4 times this week, and I was pretty good, and I'm feeling pretty good, so maybe I won't run today, and I'm going to do this, and I'll run tomorrow. And all this thinking, instead of just run your run. Stop thinking about it and run your run. We've given you the platform. We've given you the systems. Just put them in place and call your clients. Run your run. Stop worrying and arguing and making stories and exceptions and excuses. Just do it, right? And the last, and this is important, the only thing constant in success is change. So we've got all this stuff that we put out there, but I've been here 4.5 years, and it's changed a lot. We change all the time. We have to respond to the changes in the industry, changes clients have, changes our firms have. Now, one big change is we have to now help our firms run their businesses because they're not good business people. That's a big change. Different set of skills that I need to help firms. I've had to learn how a CPA firm works. And I've gone out and visited them and talked to them so I can help them restructure their practices and their systems. So on my level, and in effect, it trickles and affects everybody at the company. We have to change with the times, and we're very good at that. Now, as we become a larger company, that'll be more of a challenge, but I think it's one of our strengths. We need to keep changing. That's a strength. And the bottom line is that, you know, Tony's vision for First Global, and he said this before, I don't know if he said it here recently, but the vision is a big one. Our mission, really, as a firm, is to change the way Americans think about wealth management and the way they act on their wealth management. Don't just think about it as these isolated events or things you have to worry about, insurance over here, investments over here, retirements over there. Think about it differently and also act on it differently. Go to one person who you can trust, who can look at everything through a single prism, and that's your tax advisor, your tax firm. That's your wealth management firm that can give you tax advice. So Tony's vision for First Global is to change the way America thinks about wealth management, to act on it so that we are the dominant player in the industry. Because with the unique service proposition of tax planning, using tax planning as the foundation for wealth management on top of that, nobody can compete with us. Nobody can compete with that model. So our challenge then is to communicate to the CPA world how First Global can power them to do that. It's there. They understand this. They get this concept, but they don't know how to get from A to B. And that's our job, is really to rock their world, to make changes, to get them to use that tax business as a foundation for serving their clients in a broader way. And that's how we rock the world. The end.